Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is not a late review, it's me basically just going over what went down at the press conferences for E3, my thoughts, initial short reactions. I'm not going to go over everything that was shown because, quite frankly, a lot of it was already announced, and unless it was actually interesting to me, I just don't give a fuck. So let's start with EA. I've got to say, A Way to Go looked really interesting to me, except for the fact that it is purely co-op. That's something I'm not really okay with. I'd be fine if there was a co-op option, but I don't like the idea that it's 100%. They announced a brand new game called Anthem, which I'll talk about a bit more later because it was shown off a bit more later at a different conference. I was really excited by Battlefront 2, specifically the announcement that the DLC will be free because, quite frankly, Battlefront 1 really suffered from that bullshit pricing for the season pass. On top of that, the game itself launched with almost no fucking content. Then there was Bethesda. They showed off a bunch of stuff for VR, which I don't care about, but then they showed off an expansion for Dishonored 2, which I'm really excited for. I really enjoyed Dishonored 2. I enjoy the Dishonored franchise, so I'm excited for that. They also announced a sequel to The Evil Within, which is coming out later this year, so that was a big announcement, but I'm not sure how I feel. I hope I enjoy it more than the first one. Specifically, it's coming out on October 13th. 2017, so that's pretty cool. Fuck yeah, new Wolfenstein. I really liked the New Blood and the Old Order. New Order, Old Blood, sorry. And that's also coming out later this year. That was kind of Bethesda's big mic drop, was that everything that they showed off at their conference is coming out this year. Yes, I'm wearing glasses. I wear them to read things that I can't see at a distance since I had to take notes for this. Okay, so next up is Microsoft, and to put it simply, I would say they won E3. They had an hour-and-a-half long conference, and it was almost entirely games. So the first thing that I was really interested in, and I immediately was like, this trailer looks a lot like a Metro game. It is a new Metro game. So that's awesome. I really like the Metro franchise, so I'm excited to play a new one. Then, and I thought this was a little weird, Assassin's Creed Origins being showed off at Microsoft's conference. I think it lost a bit of thunder when they showed it off later, but it still looks pretty freaking sweet despite the historical inaccuracy and kind of inaccuracy to their own story. It makes no sense having the Assassin Order start in Egypt, especially when their enemy has always been the Templar Order. Yeah. I'm interested in The Last Ride. I really liked the art style. I thought it was very unique. I'm curious to see what kind of game it will actually be. They then showed off Vampire Animate Dark Souls, also known as Code Vein, which we already knew about because there was a kind of trailer for it a little while back, but the trailer looked pretty cool. I am very interested in this game. They showed off Tacoma. I'm so excited for this. Made by the same people who made Gone Home, which if anybody's gone far enough back in my reviews, I'm pretty sure I reviewed it, but I loved it. And then let's just say it took them long enough to readdress and show us some real crap from Crackdown 3. I'm pretty excited for it. I don't know if Terry Crews is actually going to voice a character in the game, but he was like the face of the trailer, and I love Terry Crews. They showed off a game called Ashen, which I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be, but it looked interesting, so it's a game I'm going to keep an eye on and hopefully be able to play and review. Then, oh man, Life is Strange prequel. I am so excited for it. It's called Life is Strange Before the Storm. It focuses on Chloe, and I gotta admit, anything in that world I'm pretty excited for. Then the last game they showed off was Anthem, and they claim it was a gameplay trailer. I'm pretty skeptical of that, but if that is what the game is actually like, it's gonna be amazing. Guy was in like an Iron Man suit, and it was kind of like Destiny. You team up. Well, it's basically like Destiny, except for your characters are in Iron Man suits. Then Microsoft also extolled the virtues of the Xbox One X, formerly Xbox One Scorpio, and they also announced that it's coming out on November 7th, as well as it will have a $500 price point, which that's actually lower than I was expecting, and I'm okay with that. The only thing I'm skeptical on is it's going to be their smallest console ever. With how powerful it's supposed to be, I think they probably should have at least left it the size of the Xbox One S, or made it a bit bigger just so it can cool easier, but I mean, we'll see when it's launched. As for Xbox, the reason I think they won is because they pretty much spent an hour and a half just showing off games and then a little bit of time pimping the Xbox One X. But it was almost all games, and a lot of them. Then there was the Ubisoft conference, which I'll say from the start, I hated this one less than normal, but there were some parts that I hated. So as for Ubisoft, they opened up with The Crew 2, and it's interesting because there will be some street racing to it, but there will also be planes, like legit circuit racing, boats, it looks like, just all kinds of motorsports. Then a game that I'm skeptically excited for was Skull and Bones. It looks like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, specifically like the ship element of that game, combined with For Honor, which that sounds awesome, but I hope it definitely has some strong single player elements as well. Of course, we already know about it, but they showed off some gameplay from Far Cry 5, and it looks cool, and if the game actually plays anything like that, it would be amazing. In general, it's going to be a Far Cry game, so I'm pretty excited for it. And then they had a cinematic trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it's a prequel to Beyond Good and Evil, and it looks really, really interesting. I'm curious and hopeful. And of course, it being a Ubisoft conference, they had to do something stupid for Just Dance, so they had this stupid little dance number, which was completely pointless. Who gives a crap? Show some gameplay, play some music, something like that. We don't need a live dance number. I mentioned it earlier, and I do feel like it definitely stole the thunder from it, but Assassin's Creed Origins was announced during the Microsoft one, but they showed off a bit more during the Ubisoft conference, and I'm excited. I am actually excited. Lastly, Sony. I'd love to say that the Uncharted spin-off was an awesome trailer. It looked interesting, but I couldn't hear shit because the audio guy completely screwed the pooch, and no live broadcast, because I bounced between about 5 of them had any audio for it. In fact, the audio was missing for like the first 5 minutes of the conference, which sounds silly, but it matters because you miss like a trailer and a half of audio. They showed off new DLC content for Horizon Zero Dawn, which, if you've paid attention to my reviews, that is my favorite game of the year so far. So I'm definitely excited for that. Showed off some more gameplay footage from Days Gone, and I'm definitely excited for it. I won't necessarily say that the freakers don't remind me of zombies, but they definitely remind me of zombies. I really enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus, and I gotta admit, I will probably definitely play the PlayStation 4 version of Shadow of the Colossus, but I would have preferred something new. Then Sony had an unneededly long VR section, and I know that Sony has the cheapest VR out there right now, but VR is just not something I'm super interested in at the moment. So for me, that was kind of a wasted segment. And then of course they showed off some God of War, some more gameplay footage, some more cinematic stuff. They give you no real clue about what's going on in the story, but just a hint, and it makes you excited to see what's actually going on. Oh man, they showed off Detroit. Like, I cannot wait for this game. Tomorrow isn't soon enough for this game to come out. And I gotta admit, I was pretty excited when they showed off Kara, even though I don't think she'll actually have a lot to do with the story. It didn't look like she will. Which, if you haven't seen the Kara trailer, go watch that. Go find that on YouTube. It's really a tech demo, but it's amazing. Sony also showed off Destiny 2, and then near the end of the Destiny 2 trailer, like, they showed some story stuff, but near the end of it, they basically just had a list and some footage to go with the list of all the reasons why Destiny 2 will be best on the PlayStation 4. And then they closed it with Spider-Man, which it still looks really interesting. I'm curious and I'm hopeful. I hope they can really do what they showed off in the supposed gameplay. I'm hoping it's not complete bullshit. Okay, so that wraps up this. Like I said, I feel like Microsoft definitely killed it because games, a little bit about the Xbox One X. They didn't waste a lot of time talking. They just kind of pimped what needed to be pimped. Plus, they showed off a lot more than Sony did. Also, if I seem skeptical about the gameplay trailers, it's because I'm very skeptical about the gameplay trailers just because it's stupid not to be. Gameplay trailers from E3 have traditionally been a crock of shit. They're generally like videos about the goal of what this game should play like and blah blah blah, but they're not what it actually ends up playing like. Example, The Witcher 3, Watch Dogs, No Man's Sky. All of these showed off gameplay and it looked far superior. It played in ways that it didn't play in real life. Another game you can toss in there is The Division. I'm just saying, they tend to show what they want it to look like, not what it will actually look like. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me what game you're excited for from E3? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share or subscribe. Have a good one.